Hmm. Hello. Okay. So hey everyone, I am Harshal Jain and today we'll be building a blog API using Node.js, Express and MongoDB. So this is day one and we'll be building this project in two parts. So this would be our last project for the 15 days. That is, this is day 14 and then the last project would be day 15. So till now we have covered everything in Node.js, Express, MongoDB, and this is just an additional project, not a skill-based project. This is just an additional project, and if you want to build a blog API using Node.js, Express, MongoDB, then you can actually use this. So today we would be mostly focusing on some setup APIs. Then in the next video we would be completing this project, as well as if we get time then we would be joining it with React.js. I'm not sure if we get time because in the last project we didn't join the project with React.js, but we built the complete backend part. So if you want to watch the complete playlist, you can actually go to the Geeks for Geeks development channel, and there you can easily go to the playlist section, and here you would find that the complete playlist of 15 days is available. Okay, so do watch every video because it covers my complete knowledge which I have learned till from past 2 years. So you can check out the complete playlist and do mention all the doubts, and also you can appreciate me in the comment section, and it means a lot. The guys appreciate a lot, but I want more appreciation. And if you have any queries or you think that anything must be improved or anything you don't like, you can always mention in the live chat. Okay, but yeah, please always give a positive or a negative feedback. We need a feedback, okay, so that we can improve. And one more thing, you can also share this complete playlist with your friends, so that if someone is struggling with learning the backend part, they can actually follow the 15 days of web development backend part. All right, so now let's continue. So what I wanted to tell you is you can actually go to the description and you'd find two links. So if someone is interested in learning React and Node.js, or you want to learn it live, or you want to learn it offline, you can check out both the links. One link is live and the second one is classroom based, that is offline, right? So you can check out both of these. And that's up to you. You can check out both of the links, right? So now let's continue, and I'll be creating a fresh project, and today we will be starting the very basic folder structure. And in this block application we would be having the authentication routes, then we would be using a middleware, then we would be also creating an upload route for uploading images, right? So if you want to upload images to your blog post, you can actually upload images also, and you can actually paste the links in your data, and we'll see that later on. But right now let's focus on the very basic things, that is we would be creating a blog and we would be authenticating our users also. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all, I'll be creating a fresh Node.js application. Just a minute. All right, so here I'll be creating a new folder, and let me just name as blog API, right? So if I hit this, and I'll just open it with VS Code, and this is the fresh folder which we have created. I'll just open a new terminal here, and here you just have to specify npm in it. Okay, so we have just initialized the project now. Okay, so just name it as usual, hit enter, enter, enter. Okay, So that's it, and you can see we have a package.json file. So now we have to make some installations, and we have to set up our basic Node.js application. So we would be doing that. So what do we need is, first of all, let's create an index.js file. And inside this, we would be initializing our application. This is the main entry point, right? So first of all, let's install a few dependencies, and we actually need a few dependencies. So I would be writing the names of the dependencies at once. Okay, so I'll just write npm. By the way, I hope the code is visible. I have just zoomed out for a while so that I can write everything at once. Okay, so if you aren't able to see things, you can increase the picture quality, or you can ask me in the live chat to increase the font size. Okay, so bcrypt, bcrypt, okay, bcrypt js, and then the second thing is body parser. Third thing is cookie. Actually, we don't need cookies. Uh, Third thing is course. Fourth thing is env. Then express JSON web token Mongo mongoose and Malta. Okay, so Malta would be used for storing media files, which we would be storing in the blog application. So I think these are enough, but if in future we would be needing some more packages, we would be using those packages later on, right? So now let's write things here. So let's say const express equals require express, right? So I'll just write const body parser equals require body parser, and I think you might know what is body parser used for. Whenever you are bringing some data from front end to back end, or suppose you are bringing some user data from front end to back end, so the back end must understand that this is a JSON format data. For that, we would be using body parser. That is, data coming from front end would be actually passed to JSON format data, and we can recognize the key value pairs later on. That's why we would be using body parser, right? So I think that's it. And after this, let's initialize the port also. So let's say that the port is actually for now, let's say it's 8000, right? And I would also define course equals require course. That is, course is basically used for defining what front-end user can actually access the backend. Okay, now I want to use the course. Also, I want to use body parser, right? And I think that's it. Now let's create a route app.get slash, and for testing, I would just give a response res.json, and inside this can just say welcome to API or welcome to blog API, right? So after this, I would simply listen to some port, that is 8000, and if it's running, I would just say server is running on this port, right? That's it. Now apart from this, we also need some database. So we would be creating a fresh database in MongoDB Atlas. So if you don't know what is MongoDB and things like that, you can watch my previous videos. Okay, बॉडी पार्सर का एक्सप्रेस, यस एक्चुअली बॉडी पार्सर का काम एक्सप्रेस कर देता है, एंड आई एम नॉट दैट मच इनटू इट दैट आई कैन एक्चुअली सर्च फॉर दैट, and I have heard this, but I have a habit from beginning that I can use this, but I think let me just search for it, just a minute. Body parser, okay, let me just search what thing in express we can use instead of body parser. Okay, I'm just searching it. Okay, so actually we have an alternative. So either you can use body parser or you can use express.json, right? So this is also something. So instead of this, you don't need body parser. If you have a habit of using body parser, then that's totally fine, because it's just an alternative. Okay, so instead of this, what you can do is instead of this, you can simply type express.json. Okay, so here you can simply type app dot use express.json. That's it. So it does the same job again, checks the JSON format and converts it into the parsed JSON format. Then we can extract the key value pairs. Okay, so this is another way, and you can use this way also. Okay, but I'm not that much familiar with this, so I'm not going to use this for now. Okay, but I would be just sticking with body parser only, because this is not depreciated, it's just an alternative. Okay, so you can use either, right? So thanks for the suggestion, by the way. You can use any if you want, right? All right, so now let's continue, and here I have declared it. Let's define the database. So for that we would be simply defining db.js, right? db.js. So here we have to define the database. For that we have actually installed MongoDB mongoose, right? So we would be using mongoose const mongoose equals require mongoose. Then we would be also importing the path from env file. So for that I am using require.env config, because now I am going to create a env variable. So for understanding the env variables, we have to create an env file, and automatically whenever you create an env file, this line would automatically read whatever I have defined inside this env file, right? So inside this I can actually define a few variables. That is, suppose we have mongo underscore url, and it would be some url. Similarly, we would be having some jwt underscore secret underscore key. So it can be hj123, right? Similarly, I would have a database name. So let's say my database name is my blogs. Okay, my blogs. Okay, and I think this is fine. So let's define the link also. So for that you have to again visit there. So what you can actually do is, I would be opening a fresh window and I would type MongoDB Atlas. Okay, so MongoDB Atlas, you just have to type MongoDB Atlas, and it would, again, you have to just sign in there and things like that. So people who are familiar with MongoDB would know what I'm trying to do now. Okay, so let's open a database. Right, so it would take a while, but now you can see it's here. So you can clearly see that we have our last project here, but for today we would be creating a fresh project. So let's name it as blog app. Okay, so let's name this project new project and create project. And here I'll just, you can see right now we don't have anything, we don't have a database here. So let's create a database. So I'd be choosing a free tier here. So you can purchase if you want, but free tier is good. Okay, so everything is fine. So you want to check the location. I would say that you can choose the nearest location, but let me just make it default, right? So also you can name your cluster also, but let it be. So now let's create, and it would be created. Now you can see it's asking for username, so just pick a username hj123, and similarly I would be just picking a password, create user. Now it's asking for my local environment. I would just remove this IP, and right now you would see something like this. If you don't have any added IP address, you would be adding the current IP address, or you can later on change it, by the way. So I'll just click finish and close. Okay, so go to overview. So now you can see we have this, right? So if I go to database, can see that we have our database ready. First of all, I would say that in the network access, instead of this, I would allow access from anywhere and confirm. So now I can access my database from any IP address. Okay, so it's a little bit unsafe, but for beginners it's fine. Okay, because you are not hosting it somewhere, you are just making a test application, so it's fine. But if you are making things secure, so you have to specify some specific databases. Okay, this project make front end. Okay, I would try to join the front end also, and this specific series is only for backend. That's why I never mentioned that much front end. But in some project, I think previously I have mentioned front end also, that is in React.js. I have joined React.js with that, and we were facing some course issue. I fixed that issue also. So today, I mean the second part, if we get time, then we would be definitely joining the React.js part to it. That is the front end part. So if I click on connect and just go to Compass, just copy this link and close this, and again go here. Here you just have to type the link, okay, and you can actually change this password to HJ123. That's it. That's what we wanted. Okay, so now we have this variable. I have to use this variable. Okay, so we will be using this variable now. So for just making a connection, I would just type mongoose.connect, and inside this you have to just import process.env.variable name, and now you have the link attached. Okay, now you can also specify the database name. So I have specified DB name. You can see the DB name is my blogs, so this is the database name. Okay, so now we can continue, and in the then case, we would be simply saying if everything is fine, that means things are succeeded, then we are in the MongoDB connected console. Okay, else we would simply say that we have some error connecting to MongoDB. Okay, so you can see things happen like this. Now what you want is you simply need to call this whenever your application runs. So for that you need to just use this. So I would be just using the db.js. How you can actually do this? You can simply say require db.js. Okay, so first of all, I also would want to use uh, database. I actually want to use .env also, so I'd be again copying this and pasting it here because .env would be used everywhere. Okay, so require, and inside this you just have to specify the path of DB. So automatically whenever your application starts, these two things would be automatically called, that is the .env file and also the DB file. So whatever is inside .db file would be called, whatever is inside .env file would be called. Okay, so it's like that. So you can see I have called DB automatically. This application would run with MongoDB also. Okay, so now it's fine, and now let's try to work with the main part. Okay, so first of all let me just try to check if it's working or not. So again, if you don't have nodemon installed, you just have to type npm I nodemon. Okay, so nodemon nodemon dash g. Okay, so it would simply mean that you are installing nodemon globally, so you don't have to install again and again. So whenever you are creating a fresh application, next time you don't need to install nodemon. Okay, so I haven't installed nodemon today because I have installed nodemon before. Okay, so I would simply type nodemon, and by default if you don't type anything it would target index.js, because of simply you can see in the main part index.js is mentioned. So if you simply hit enter, it would directly call nodemon index.js. Okay, so you can also see node index.js is called automatically. So automatically you can see that the server is running and MongoDB is connected. Okay, so both are working fine, and now we can continue with the application. So I hope you know this basic setup part, and now we would be working on the user setup part. Okay, so setup part is very basic, so let me just define a few users, then we would be working on it, right? Mahantesh Patel, since we are focusing on backend development, let's stick to it. That's what that's what I thought, but I'm not denying anything. If we get time, we would be also joining some part of front end because the knowledge of front end is also necessary. Even if you want to become a backend developer, you must know some amount of front end. That means whatever API you would be creating, how this API would be used in front end. Okay, so it's always a good thing to know, to have both knowledge of front end as well as back end, and later on you can choose your own path, that is I want to become a back end engineer or a front end engineer, things like that. Okay, so but for now today specifically we would be only focusing on the back end part. So here in index.js we have completed everything, so let's define user routes. Okay, so this would be similar to previous videos. We would be again defining login register part. So I'll be doing really fast because we have covered this in previous videos, and even if you have doubts you can ask me in the live chat. I would again clear all your doubts. Okay, so let's say first of all we would be having a user model. Actually let's create a folder named as models. Okay, so models. okay, models. So inside this, you can actually say that we have a user.js. Right, so this is for the user model. Now inside user model, what I would say is I want two three fields. Actually, I would want username, email, and password, three fields. Okay, so I'd be defining those. So first of all, I would just say that we have mongoose, and if you don't know what I'm talking about today, you can actually go to the previous video and you can watch. Just a minute, I'll just tell you what video to watch. You'll have a better idea if you don't know what's the authentication part. So you can simply go to the playlist and you can check out all the videos. You would know how authentication works, but for being specific, you can actually watch this sixth video, so you would know how authentication works. And one more is uh, this task manager API with Node.js Express and MongoDB. In both these videos, I have explained proper authentication of front-end user. Okay, so you can watch both of these. Now let's continue. So I would be again using the same things here, but if you feel things are really fast and you're not able to understand anything, you can watch those videos because I have explained things properly in those videos. Okay, so here I have to just specify the user schema. So let's say const user schema equals new mongoose schema. Okay, so in mongoose schema you just have to say that we would be having two three parameters, that is first is username, then email, then password. Okay, so username, email, and password, both three fields are important, so I would just say that all three are required true. Okay, so that's it. And if you wanna say that username is also unique, you can make this, but right now I'm assuming username is the real name of that person, that is Harshal Jain, Viraj Jain. I hope you get this. Okay, so these are the three fields, but all of these are mandatory, right? So now let's say that whenever someone is saving the user, that means registering a user, they must be saving some password, so the password must always be hashed. So for hashing, I simply mean that suppose the password is hj123, I would want to convert it to some random format, okay, that is only understandable by the bcrypt. Okay, so that makes things very secure. Okay, so that's why we would be converting things in that format. So for that we would be simply calling an event. So MongoDB save also has an event. So before saving, okay, what kind of event is called? First of all, whenever you are going to save, before saving, that means dot pre simply means before saving, you want to just convert your normal password into hashed password. So here you are just saying that async function, and this is actually a middleware because this is called in between, right? Before saving, I'm calling this. Okay, so I would just say that again. So you would have this user, okay, whatever user you are about to save, and if there is a change in the password field, that means you are setting a new password or you are removing or modifying the password, you would always consider password as modified. Okay, so if password is not modified, you would simply continue. Okay, that means there is no change in password, there is no change in username or email, you haven't changed the password, so why would I hash the password again? Okay, seems logical, right? So this is for that case. But if you have changed the password, you are setting a new password or resetting the password, so for that you have to just create a salt, and salt simply means you would be mixing the password 10 times so that a random sequence has been created. Now you would simply say that user dot password equals, I would just mix it with the salt. So salt is actually a sequence of random characters and I have mixed it. Okay, so I have just mixed these characters with my password. Okay, so I have just hashed it. So now you have a really powerful password. If your password was hj123, now it's some random character sequence and you don't know what's the exact sequence. Okay, only bcrypt would understand. So that's it. Now I would simply say next. So once the password has been changed to the hash password, I would simply continue. Okay, but if password isn't modified, so I would directly continue. If password is modified, I would change the password, then continue. Okay, I hope you got this. Now we would be simply saying that const, we have to export this, right? So const user equals mongoose dot model user schema, right? And we would just say that mongoose dot export. Inside this, I would just export user, right? So I've just exported user, and then in index.js, again, you can see that we have to create specific routes for users. So let's say we have a folder named as routes. Okay, so routes, and inside routes, let's define user routes. Okay, that is auth routes. So let me just name it as auth routes.js, right? So inside this, again, we have to define the auth routes, that is login and register. What is your YouTube profile name? Okay, specifically, I don't teach that much apart from Geeks for Geeks development, but I have a personal YouTube channel named as Coders Hub. You can check out that channel also. Okay, and if you want to contact me personally, you can actually check out my Instagram. I am mostly active there. So if you have doubts, you can ask me there also, right? Hmm. So this is my Instagram profile. In case you wanna have some chat or some doubts, so you can ask me here directly. All right. So now let's continue. And this is full lecture series of Node.js. Yes, from past 15 days we have been writing a lot Node.js code. So this is a complete 15 days of backend, and right now we are at day 14. Okay, that means last 2 days are actually left, and right now we are just building a project. This is not a theory based or conceptual based video. It's just a project. Okay, so if you wanna know the complete theory part and the concepts, you can watch the complete playlist which is available in this in this Geeks for Geeks development channel, right? You can check out there. So now let's continue. Salt को env file में definitely you can mention salt in the env file instead of this. Like right now we are using salt here, that is 10. You can actually mention that in the env file, but generally in most cases you would be making salt as 10. Why am I making it 10? Because if you create salt very less, so it's more guessable. If you make the salt very bigger, so it would be time consuming. So in most cases you would be writing salt as 10. So why would be creating a variable for this single digit? Okay, that means for just 10. So that's why we have simply written 10 here. But if you wanna use env variables for these cases also, you can definitely go for it. And I hope you know the procedure, so you can mention that also. Okay, so instead of this, you would be creating a variable salt value, and then you can actually use that in here. Okay, you can actually import the process env and things like that. But I haven't tried personally in any schema. You can check out on your own. I would say that since in most cases you would be doing it 10 times, so just write 10 as it is, because it's easily guessable. Someone might try it with 8 9 10 automatically, so they would reach at 10. Okay, so it's not something very highly secure. So if you mention here or env, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so it's good to mention it here directly. All right, so in auth routes, let's define the auth routes which we have. So we would be actually importing express and express router. Okay, then we would be using JSON web token for creating a token as a response whenever someone logs in. Okay, will also be okay, let's say this. Okay, so after this we would be needing the uh, user schema which we have created. So in the models we have user, right? So in that inside the models we have user, we have simply imported it, right? What else do you need? You would also need JWT secret key. Okay, so I would just say that we have JWT underscore secret underscore key. Okay, so let's say my JWT secret key is actually inside the env file, so automatically it would be imported. Okay, just make sure you don't have to mention .env config everywhere again and again, because your application is running here. You would be calling auth routes here somewhere below, so automatically all the above imports would be applicable on auth routes also, so you don't need to worry about everything. Okay, so you can see that automatically this process.env would import this. You don't have to mention env config every time, right? So here I have imported the schema also and the variable for secret key also. So let's now create a route for registering. So route dot post. Okay, route dot post. Inside this, first of all, we have a register route. Register route simply specifies registration of a user. So again, I would just have a request or a response. So whenever you are registering a user, you don't need to check whether a user is authenticated or not, because you are just registering, you are creating a new user. You don't need any kind of authentication, right? So we won't be calling any middleware for login and registration. So here I would just say that const uh, the user would be providing three things from front end, right? User name, user email, and password. Okay, then I would be trying to save it. So I would say that just cut this part and mention it after try catch, so that if there is any issue, if anything is missing, so we would be still able to easily mention that in the try catch block, right? So in the try part, what actually do you need is, you would just say that const user. Now we are actually saving the new user with these three fields. Okay, so you just have to write it this way. Now your user would be saved with these three fields, and now you would simply say user.save. Okay, await user.save. That's it. Okay, that's it. So now you can see things are working fine. So if I click on this, it would take me here. That means everything is fine. So once your user is saved, you would be sending a response, that is res.json, and automatically 200 or is the 200 type responses here. Okay, so user created successfully, and response, as a response you can actually send the user as a response if you want, but right now let's skip this. Okay, so user has been created successfully. So if things work fine, this is the case. Else you would simply say res dot status, whatever is the issue, you would be returning with the error message. Okay, so suppose in some case the email is common, email already exists, so you would be getting a message that email already exists, things like that. Okay, so automatically it's done because we have mentioned email as unique in our user.js. You can see email is unique, so we don't need to specify specific errors for anything. Okay, so you can see that we have created a register route. Now similarly we need a login route, so I would just copy this and paste it here. Now you want to log in, so login route, we would be needing two things, that is email and password. Now what you want is, if what, if user, first of all let's find the user. Okay, so I would just say that const user, I would find that specific user with that specific email. So I would just say that await user dot find one with that specific email. I think there is some issue with the imports, we'll see that later on, but right now let's work with this only. Okay, so user dot find one with that specific email. If we didn't find that user, we would simply return a response, that is res, okay, I'm sorry, return with that specific response. Okay, so or simply say user not found. Okay, so if user is not found with that specific email, but if user is found with that specific email, now I would compare that specific email's password with the password which I have provided. Okay, so I would just say that const is match equals, I would just say that await. Now you have to compare the password with the hashed password. So there is no other way for comparing the password except using bcrypt. Okay, so for that what we can actually do is, I'm sorry, for that what we can actually do is, first of all you have to import bcrypt. Okay, so here you can simply say const bcrypt, require bcrypt. Now you would be simply using bcrypt to compare the saved password, right? So bcrypt dot compare password and the saved password and the password which I have provided while logging in. Okay, so if there is match, then we are fine, but if there is no match, okay, that means password do not match, so this will be the false case, that means invalid credentials. Okay, else you would generate a token. So for that you would be needing JWT. So I've already imported JWT as JSON web token as JWT. So I just have to write sign. Inside this you would be providing the ID of that specific user. Okay, so I would just say that suppose you have user ID. Okay, user ID, and you just provide the ID of that specific user which you have found. Okay, if there is a match, there is a match, that means user is valid, that means now I can actually use this ID to generate a token. So I've used the ID of that specific user to generate a token, and I don't think we actually need anything else apart from this. So one more thing actually, here we have specified the user ID. You also need to specify the secret key, JWT secret key, and you can also specify that it expires in a few hours and things like that. But right now, let's say that it's valid for a while. Okay, so everything is fine here. We have generated a password. Now, what else do we need is we just need to send this as a response. So you would simply say that we have a token, we have a user, and we also have a message user logged in successfully. Okay, so login and register routes are actually created now. This is login authentication. Mantesh, I have office meetings, amazing content, will check out later, thank you. Okay, Mantesh, these live sessions are actually available in the YouTube, and you can watch anytime you want. These are available always forever. Okay, so but thanks for your valuable time. Okay, and relaxing Quran. This is login authentication. Yes, this is login authentication. Correct. So we have completed login authentication, but I feel that there is some problem with the model part. So let me just check what I have done here. So just a minute, guys. All right, so we have created a Mongo schema and we have simply exported it, right? And I would like to mention one more thing here. Whenever a user is created or updated, timestamps will become true. That means we will be creating a specific field for created at and updated at automatically whenever we create or update a user's data, right? And after that, you can see I'm before saving, I'm doing this, and I'm just saying this that I have exported user from there. Okay, I think this is fine, and I don't think we need anything else. By the way, guys, instead of this, you can directly mention 10 here. Okay, it would also work. So automatically it would take the generated salt, but it's fine. So you can see that we are fine with this, and we are simply saying if it's not modified, continue. If it's modified, then update password, then continue. Okay, so this is the login part, and before actually continuing, we have to use the routes which we have created. Okay, so for using the routes, I can again go to index.js, and index.js you just have to import the user routes or auth routes which you have created. So here you just have to do the import stuff. So auth routes, okay, you have just imported auth routes file from index.js. Okay, so I think the naming is fine, but there is some issue here. You can see module not found, bcrypt. Okay, bcrypt is actually not found. Okay, so I think I might not have installed bcrypt. Bcrypt.js. Okay, 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 okay. So just a minute, guys. I think I have mistaken the name with something else. So it's actually bcrypt, not bcrypt.js. Okay, so my mistake. I'll be again installing bcrypt. Okay, so don't write bcrypt.js. It's actually only bcrypt. Okay, so again, I'll be writing npm I bcrypt bcrypt. Okay, so now everything would be fine, and we actually don't need this, so we would be removing this from here directly. Okay, so this is fine. So you can see it's working fine, and now I think it would be working properly. So in index.js we have imported this. Now we have to use the routes. So here in the bottom, for external routes, you just have to write app.use, and here you can just specify the specific route which you have defined externally. Okay, so I would just say that app.use, and here you can just say that slash users, that means slash users, and then slash register or slash login would be called. Okay, so auth routes. So I'm just calling auth routes. So I think there is some issue with the auth routes. Requires a middleware, uses a middleware, got a data type function. Okay, so now I am about to see what's exactly the problem here. So in auth routes, I think we did a mistake. Okay, so let's check what mistake did we do here. So in Express, we just acquired Express, and later on we have defined Express router. Okay, this looks fine. I think, I think we have missed some of the import part. Guys, I haven't exported it, right? So I haven't exported it, so I have to actually export it, module.exports router. So now it would work properly. Okay, so this was the basic mistake. You just have to export the router, and let's wait for MongoDB to be connected. So you can see it takes a few seconds to be connected. So let's wait for that also. Until then, I would be opening Postman. So now we would be registering. So you can see this is the actual path which we would call slash registers, slash user slash register. If you don't call slash register and you would make a get request, what you would get is send. So you can see we are getting a error. Okay. Let's see what's the exact mistake. So slash users. Okay, so here you haven't defined the slash route. Okay, so for testing, I would just define a router dot post. Inside this, I'm sorry, router dot get. I'm just creating a test route here so that we can test the users. Okay, right? And as a response dot JSON, I'll just send a message user route is working. Okay, so now let's try to get this. Click send. So you can see user route is working. That means it's working fine. Okay, so now we would be making a post request to register this. Okay, so for registering post request and the headers, you have to specify content type application JSON. In the body part, you would just specify a username, email, and password. So you can see I'm specifying these three fields. Now let me just first check that if we are connected to database or not. So you can see MongoDB is connected. Now let's try to send this. So yeah, that is the problem. Okay, so you can see we actually didn't complete this properly. This is the problem here. We actually have a problem here. Okay, so let's try to fix this first. So what I would do is I would again do the same things. Okay, so I've just modified things a bit, and this is again the same thing, but I've just modified the pre schema. And here you can see before saving the password, again instead of salt providing externally, I've just pasted it here directly, and rest everything I think is fine. Okay, and we also, instead of name, I would just say that we have a username, right? So we have user schema, we have already exported this. Now once you export this, you have to import it in auth routes. In auth routes, you have imported the user, and now you can see you are using the user. Okay, so I think I did some mistake. You can actually read this again and you would find the correct code here. Okay, so you can see things are fine here. I think I might have missed some kind of bracket. Okay, so it's working. So now let's try to again check it and send. You can see user created successfully. If you want to check that if it's created or not, you can actually go here, and in the browse collections you would find the users. Okay, so in the my blogs database you have users collection. So a new user has been created, and you can see that the password of this user has been hashed. So now let's try to call the login route. Okay, so again login, again it would be a post request, but this time you don't need the username, but let it be. We can always ignore this because automatically login is taking these two fields. Okay, so it would be neglecting this username field. Even if it's there, you won't be needing this field. Okay, so you only need email and password for login, and in the headers part application JSON, and that's it. So let's try to click, and you can see secret or private key must have a value. Okay, so I think there is some problem with secret key, so let me just try to check the secret key. Okay, so let's do one thing. This is JWT secret key, and here whenever you are logging in, okay, here in the auth routes, whenever you are logging in, so what have we done is, so here I think this is one mistake which we have done. When we were logging in, we are not able to generate it properly. Let's check what is the problem with the user routes in the token generation part. In the token generation, what I did was, um, let me just check if we are able to get the secret key or not. Okay, so I'll just send the secret key directly when we are able to log in. So click send. So you can see when I click this, actually GWT secret key is not able to be imported. Why is this? Okay, I think this is the issue because we haven't used .env config. That's why I think this is the main issue. Or else what you can do, one thing, you can just copy it. I think this is because of that issue. So let me just paste it directly. And I actually want to check that if this is working properly or not. And before doing that, actually, I would simply, instead of this, I would just print the console.log, and here I would just print process.env jwt secret key because this is actually not imported and we are trying to import this. Okay, so let's test this, and if everything is fine, let's say that for now we are just giving a message as uh okay. Okay, so let's test this. I want to check that if we are able to get this or not. Okay, so if I click on send, you can see messages okay, and you're getting the key. That means it's working fine now. So you have to use this directly. You don't need to use the variable. Okay, so I'll just copy this, and again I'll just uncomment this. So while generating the token, instead of that, I'm providing the whole env value, and then we would be again able to generate things properly, and we don't need this message. Okay, so as a response, we are sending token user object and the message. Okay, so now let's try to click send. So you can see that it must work, by the way. Okay, so it's not connected to MongoDB, so let's wait for a few seconds, then we'll continue. My name is Hamad. Sir, I like your teaching skills. Thanks, Hamad. I really like to teach, by the way. And personally, these projects help me a lot to brush up my concepts. So I really like this, enjoy this a lot. So definitely it adds a lot to the teaching experience. And I'm a very less aged guy, by the way. So even I'm not that much experienced, but still I like doing things. That's why you like my teaching experience. Okay. Bro, please do forget password. Okay, this time we'll do forget password also because this is a very great suggestion, and I think this must be added to our project. Okay, so we have successfully done this, and can see that yes, fine, it's fine, and MongoDB is actually not connected. So I'll just refresh, and now it would be connected. Okay, sometimes it has some issues, so you have to just wait patiently. Things happen. Okay, so I have again refreshed, and it must work. Let's see. Mm, hmm. So sometimes MongoDB fails to be connected. Like, It usually doesn't happens, but I have been using MongoDB from past 2 years, and recently I'm facing this issue that I have to refresh a bit to actually make it work. I don't know why it happens, but if it's my computer specific, then it might be some internet issue. But I think it's fine. You have to just refresh for 2 3 times if something like crashing happens. Okay, so sir, we connect MongoDB locally or globally? Right now we have made it in cloud. That means it's globally. Okay, so I would always say that use MongoDB Atlas. MongoDB Atlas is you're using global database. MongoDB Compass simply means you're using local database. That means only on your computer. Okay, so since we are using Atlas, that means this project is accessible by anyone. There, anyone can access the database. If anyone has this code, they can access the database directly. Okay, so that's the benefit of using MongoDB Atlas over MongoDB Compass. That's why we were using. Initially, I have taught how to use MongoDB Compass, but I would always recommend go for MongoDB Atlas, because since it would be having your database on cloud, so it would save a lot of space and things like that. So it's more sensible, and I think nowadays everything is in cloud, so why to waste your computer space, right? So even MongoDB is providing things for free, storage for free, so it's worth it, I think. So you can always go for the local one, that is MongoDB Compass, but for our series, in most projects, in most videos, we have used MongoDB Atlas, that is global, that is database, global database, right? So from anywhere you can access this database. That's the benefit, right? So I think now it's connected, so we'll again call this, and now you can see the user has logged in successfully. So this is the token which we would get, and this is the user data which we would get as a response, and then the message user logged in successfully. So this is optional. If you don't want to show this, definitely you can, or else you can show everything else except the password fields and things like that. So this is option. If you want to show user field, definitely you can, else it's totally fine. All right. So, guys, we have successfully created a very basic route. And suppose if someone forgets their password, so what we'll do is in the next video, we'll be focusing on the block part. So we'll be continuing that in the next video, and we will be focusing on the block part, and also the forget password part, because someone has mentioned today. So definitely I'll add it to the next video. And one more thing, since tomorrow is the last video, so I would like to add one more thing to it, that is email verification. So what we would be using is node mailer. Okay, so node mailer is a very popular package we get through npm, and we would be using node mailer. It's a very great tool. So in the next video we'll be continuing with that. So I hope you understood today's video, and I made it very light so that things are fine today. All right, so that's it for today. We'll be covering the next part in next video, that is tomorrow. Okay, so I will see you in the next one. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the live chat, or you can. Sir, why are you not using static files in EJS? I don't use EJS that much because I feel EJS is quite insecure because it's directly joined to the backend. So I think your front end and back end must be separate so that things are way more secure, and only one way of connection is through APIs. So I think you can use EJS, but it makes things way more complicated, and there is no sense of using templates. If you have front-end libraries, like if you can use React.js for front-end, you can use React.js for admin panel also. So why to use EJS? I don't think that it's more senseful to waste time on that. But and personally, I haven't made a single project in my life using those templates. I have learned the templates, but I think it's not that much worth it. You can write your very best looking website code in React.js or plain HTML CSS. You don't need any kind of template for that. Okay, but if you still feel you want to use it, definitely you can, but it would actually waste a lot of time because code syntax is a bit different and things like that. Okay, but talking about the front end, in most cases I would prefer using React.js for any kind of front end code. Okay, if you want to show admin panel, or if you want to show server some kind of server interface, then you can also show it in React.js. You can create a separate interface. But if you know that this thing would be highly secure, then you can use AJS also. But I would recommend that don't go for that. If you are a beginner, you can always use things like React.js or HTML CSS to show beautiful layout for any kind of interface. Okay, so that's totally up to you, but I won't be using AJS because I feel that it's not that much worth of using. Okay, so I hope you understood this video. So from next video we will be continuing with the blog API and the forget password. And in forget password we would be using email verification. Okay, so for phone verification you can use service like fast to SMS. I have used a service, and if someone wants to know, I have used a service named as fast to SMS, which would actually send a OTP in your phone number if you wanna verify it via phone number. But since it would be costing some money, so instead of that we would be using a free service, that is Node Mailer, which would be sending an OTP to your email account. Okay, so it would actually help a lot. So in the next video, that would be really important. Okay, so that's it for today, and if you have any doubts you can again mention in the comment section. I would be reading all of your comments. And thanks for always appreciating me, and it's always a great opportunity for me also. I teach because I learn a lot from that also. Okay, and if you have any specific kind of requirements that please build this kind of project in Node.js, you can also mention that in the description, I'm sorry, in the comment section. Okay, so if you want to contact me personally, you can message me on Instagram. I'll just show you my profile. Okay, all right. So guys, this is my Instagram profile, and a lot of people actually ask a lot of their doubts here. So if you have specific kinds of doubt regarding this or my any kind of videos at Geeks for Geeks and I'm not able to read the comments, always feel free to message me, and I'm always available for answering all of your doubts, queries regarding these. Okay, so that's it for today, and don't forget to check out the links in the description. Again, I would like to mention the two links. That is, if you want to learn complete MERN stack development, you can check out the two links. First is for the live course, that is, it would be live, taken on the Geeks for Geeks platform. Second is the classroom based program, that is, it would be offline. Okay, so the second one is the classroom based one. This would be offline at Gurgaon and Noida. So if you are someone who can come here and watch these, definitely you can purchase this one and enjoy the method of offline also. Okay, and so we actually take care of both kind of people. Some people like it online, some people like it offline. So in both cases, it's up to you. All right, so you can check out the description also. Before purchasing anything, I would always recommend check out the complete course content and then make a decision. Okay, so that's it for today. I will see you in the next one. Till then, see you, have a good day. Bye bye.